Donna McFarlane's first World Championship. She made a quantum leap in 2007, of course, a medalist of the Commonwealth Games. In her heat, she was drawn number 7, so she had athletes inside and out, and she came in with great form, raced in Europe, had a training camp in Cairns before the championships, Spanish athlete and a Chinese athlete, and the shoe came on. She was spiked early on, so the shoe was off, and she tried to continue with 2 laps with blisters on the feet, so it was absolutely tragic for an athlete that was a real medal chance in the 3,000 metre steeplechase. And
the difficulty was that apparently she was spiked on the side of the foot, which took her spike off altogether, and then also you combine not only the damage that does, but also the heat of the track. We've just seen actually on the scoreboard here what the temperatures were this morning, and actually it was the hottest part of the day was 11 and 12 o'clock when Donna was running, so she just couldn't have kept going. And unfortunately, under these circumstances, in this length of race, they won't reinstate an athlete that hasn't run the heat, because you can imagine if you get to the final and everyone else has already run one race and someone comes in with fresh legs, because she got knocked out early on in the race, they don't really have the chance to put her back in the field. Okay, Jane, well, she was distressed after the race, and about 10 minutes after she finished, Emma Simpkin caught up with Donna McFarlane.
Well, Donna, I guess you go through absolutely every contingency in preparation for a race. Had that one ever gone through your mind?
No, it hadn't. I did think before the race, have I got my shoes done up properly? And I did. So it's unfortunately one of the things that happens in sport, and it happened to me today in the biggest race of my life.
You were in such good form. We were talking about the fact that you were a medal contender here, and for it to end after 100 metres, I can't imagine how you're feeling.
Yeah, I'm really, really disappointed, and I think everyone who's supporting me would be disappointed for me too, because I was in good shape and I had really high expectations and hopes for this meet.
Obviously, you gallantly tried to run on. It was going to, I guess, always be impossible to try and complete a race without a shoe, and in these conditions as well.
I thought, oh, the Kenyans do it. I did for a split second consider putting my shoe back on, but I just thought, first of all, I would have had to find it. 18 girls ran over it, and then to double back, put it on, do the laces up and go again, there was no way I was going to make the final with that option. So my gallant option, as you said, was to continue. And unfortunately, it was on the other foot, because had it been the left foot, I do have that taped a little bit already. And it's my preferred jumping foot, so I did one water jump on making sure I landed on my left foot so I'd have a bit of grip, but the track is so hot. The air temperature's hot enough, but the track really burned up my feet, and I looked down and saw blood all over the track, and it's the hardest thing I've had to do to pull out of that race.
Well, it's a real testimony to her courage. She ran for so long. Dave Colbert joined us once more. Dave, she's worked so hard to get to this position, Donna McFarlane. How did you see it?
Well, it was devastating, David. You couldn't. It was one of those situations where you look up and say, "Did I actually see that happen?" Because it happened in the first 50 metres of the race. They hadn't been going for 3 or 4 seconds, and all of a sudden she's out. And her coach, McCherry, is a 80-year-old who's travelled overseas for the first time this year to go to Oslo to watch her run, and then came here to Osaka and only arrived yesterday. And husband Marty and the 2 kids back at home. Look, it's just, I can understand why Donna went off the track and composed herself for at least 10 or 15 minutes before she spoke to the media, and she is such a fantastic young woman, and her journey's been really interesting to get back and run in the Commonwealth Games and win a medal and to be here. She'll be back, I think. She'll be back.
I'm sure she will.